Hey everyone, it's Jonathan here, founder of Driving Academy. In today's video, I've got a special treat for you because we're going to teach you the secrets on how to pass your CDL road test the very first time. That's right. Did you know on average, when you take about statewide numbers, it takes about 3 to 4 times in order for an average individual to pass the CDL road test? That's correct. So I want to save you a whole lot of time, a whole lot of frustrations, a whole lot of headaches. And if you watch this video all the way to the end, you're going to know everything you need to know in order to pass this test the very first time. Now here at Driving Academy, we pride ourselves in providing a great training atmosphere for everyone to make sure that it's as easy as possible for them to actually succeed in getting themselves their CDL license. Our mission is to help 1 million people just like you get themselves on the road to freedom by getting a CDL license. But if they do not listen to the advice I'm about to give you, they won't pass the very first time either. Now, benefit to them is that we actually have our guaranteed training course, which means we're going to give you over 100 hours of training plus unlimited tries at the road test, which calms down the nerves for our students, especially people who are not good test takers, which means if they do fail once or twice, they don't have to worry about it. They don't have to pay anything extra. They just keep coming back until they actually pass. And that's how we can kind of make sure that they get themselves on the road to freedom. But if you're somebody who wants to pass the first time, you don't want to do this whole rotation thing, let's buckle up and let's get started. So let's kind of break down the actual CDL road test. It's going to be broken down to 3 main parts. Part number 1 is going to be how to inspect the vehicle. Here you're going to have to inspect both the inside and outside of the vehicle. The inside part is going to be called a cab check engine start. The outside is going to be called a pre-trip inspection. Now this is actually where most people wind up failing. Now why is that? It's because you're pretty much going to have to memorize a word-for-word script and kind of be an actor as you're acting out this scenario in front of an examiner. You're not going to have to be a diesel mechanic. You're not going to have to understand how every little bolt and hose operates on the actual truck, but you can't just go in there and wing it because you think you know what's going on. I can't tell you how many times I've talked to diesel mechanics who know everything that's going on, go out there, don't study at all, and they just wing it and they completely fail. Because the examiner's job is they have this checkbox that they have to watch out for, right? They have this checklist. They're going to be watching this checklist. They're going to be listening to you. And if you don't say the words on their actual checklist, you're not going to get credit for the actual test. Now, it's not the examiner's fault. They're just following the rules set by the state or by the federal government. Now, one of the cool things about being a student here at Driving Academy is that some of our locations actually offer third-party testing. So I am a certified third-party tester itself, which means I've given over 100 tests, probably over 1,000 by now. And so I know exactly what the student goes through because I've been on your shoes and I know what the examiner is going through as well. So this is exactly why, if you pay attention, you will be able to pass this test the very first try. So when it comes to the pre-trip inspection, what do you have to know? The pre-trip inspection itself is going to be the actual script. So if you come to our school, we're going to give you a word-for-word script so you know exactly what to memorize. Now, it's not going to be this whole crazy like 20-page script that a lot of these other places give you. We're going to break it down to individual sections. So the outside inspection or the pre-trip, if you're doing a CDL Class A, we're breaking it down into 5 simple sections for you to memorize. Everything from under the hood would be section number 1. Everything that has to do with the tires, suspension, and brakes would be section number 2. Anything that has to do with the actual vehicle itself, right? That's going to be section number 3. Section number 4 is going to be anything that has to do with the coupling system of the vehicle. So the 5th wheel, the air lines, electric lines, things like that. And then the 5th section is going to be with the trailer. So we just break it down 1 section at a time. We don't let you move on until you've mastered 1 section. So it's not like you're climbing over this big mountain. Number 2 thing that we do is the actual in-cab inspection. We actually give you that word-for-word script. Now, there's going to be certain things that will automatically fail you for this test on the in-cab inspection. The whole thing when it comes to the pre-trip inspection, it's based on a point system, which means if you get most of the stuff that we're teaching you, you're not going to have any issue. The in-cab inspection, however, is super, super important. So let's give you the top 3 things that actually fail you on the pre-trip inspection. First thing that's going to fail you is going to be improper use of the key. What does that mean? Right? So the key itself, that's right, the actual key that you use to turn on the truck has failed more people than you can think of. And there's actually a part of the actual in-cab inspection where you have to turn the engine on in the beginning. You're going to build the air pressure up all the way to 120 psi, and then you're going to shut the engine off and turn the key back to the on position. If you fail to turn the key back to the on position, what do you think happens? That means you actually fail. And that's it. You did all this work and you're going home. So please listen to me and make sure you understand what to do with that key. Top 2 reason why somebody actually winds up failing when it comes to the in-cab inspection is not knowing how to operate the parking brakes, right? So when it comes to the parking brakes, so we turn the engine all the way on, built up to 120, shut the key off, turn the key to the on position so the actual dashboard is working, and then from there we have to actually push the parking brakes in. If you fail to push the parking brakes in to release the air in the system and you continue with your test, what do you think is going to happen? That's right, fail. And then the third and final thing that actually gets people messed up is going to be not knowing the proper wording to say. So this is where examiners can be super strict. So for instance, 120 psi is going to be one of the numbers that you're going to have to know. Be 120 to 140 is when the air pressure should be filled up. Around 55 psi is when the light and buzzer should turn on, indicating a low warning buzzer, right? 45 to 20 psi is when the parking brake should pop out itself. If you mess up any of those numbers, you will, what's going to happen? Fail. So the top 3 reasons why people actually fail the in-cab inspection is going to be the key, improper use of the brakes, and not knowing the proper numbers for the actual in-cab inspection itself. So if you just handle those 3 things, your chances of passing your very first try has gone through the roof, right? And that's super, super important. Now, once you've actually passed the in-cab inspection, and then you're going to go to do the pre-trip inspection, and with that you have to understand a word-for-word script that we'll teach you here, and only then can you finally move on to section 2, which is going to be parking. So if we were to kind of give you a recap of the first part of the test, which is going to be inspection, I want to leave you off with some very quick tips to make sure that it sinks into your brain. Tip number 1, and the most important tip, is make sure you focus on memorization, right? Don't just use your actual gut feeling or your past knowledge. You're going to want to memorize things word for word. If you come to our school, like I said before, we're going to break it down for you in a super simple method that's systematized so you'll never forget, right? The other thing that you want to do is make sure that when you are taking the actual test, you speak slowly and you speak loudly enough so the examiner can actually hear you. If the examiner cannot hear you and they cannot understand you, they cannot grade you. So that is super important to really understand. Now, the last tip and trick that I want to give you is, the cool thing you can do is just watch our video training on this right here, right? So we've updated it for this year of 2025. And if you just listen to the words that I use in this video, you're going to be able to pass this test without any problems. The link is right here in the video or in the description below. Make sure you check that out itself. Make sure you subscribe so then anytime you do the new videos coming out, every single year we're going to update them, you get the most up-to-date version yourself, right? So those are the main things to really worry about when it comes to the actual inspection portion of the test. All right, so now you've taken all of the tips that we wanted you to take, and now you're moving on to part number 2. Congratulations, you're almost there, right? What's that song? Oh, we're halfway there, something like that, right? So what's going on from here? Now you're going to have to know how to do a parking maneuver. So you're going to have to be tested on 4 different maneuvers itself. Maneuver number 1 is going to be a front bumper stop. So you're going to test your abilities on how to pull the vehicle up straight and stop within a front 2-cone section. Number 2 is going to be how to do a straight line back, which means you're going to have to back up a tractor trailer or a bus, whatever you're taking the test in, 100 feet in a straight line without touching any of the outside boundary lines or cones. Part number 3 is going to be a forward offset, which means we want to test your skills on the ability to kind of pull forward around an object without hitting the back trailer on any cars in front of you, as an example. And then part number 4 is going to be a reverse offset back, which almost looks like a parallel park and an alley dock had a baby, and we kind of mix that thing together, right? And when you're a student here, we're going to explain all that stuff for you. Now, unfortunately, if you're a YouTube University kind of guy where you go to YouTube all the time to learn everything like me, this is the one skill you cannot learn on YouTube. You can kind of refine it, maybe get a different perception, but you cannot learn how to drive a tractor trailer on YouTube. So we definitely recommend finding a school near you. If you want the best CDL school in the country, find a location near you. We have locations nationwide. Check out our website, cdldrivingacademy.com, right? And then from there, what's actually going to happen is that we'll actually walk you through our training yard and we'll give you the hands-on experience that you need to know on how to make sure you're back in these vehicles correctly so you can pass part number 2 2 of the CDL road test, right? So what are some of the overall tips and tricks that you're going to need to know in order to pass part number 2 of the test? Actually, the main reason why most people fail this section right here is the silliest reason you can ever think of, and that comes down to not following directions. That's right, you heard me correctly. It doesn't matter how well you do at parking. If you do not follow the directions of the examiner, they will fail you. So the number one reason why people actually fail the road test when it comes to the parking is going to be not following instructions. So the examiners are going to be reading you a script on exactly what they want you to do. They're then going to ask you if you have any questions. Don't be in a rush. Listen intently and make sure you understand exactly where the truck should be starting, where the truck should be ending at the end of the maneuver, how many get out and looks do you have, how many free pull-ups do you have, where exactly you should do when you are done, right? The examiners are going to tell you to do something like, okay, when you're done, make sure you put it in neutral, apply the brakes, and honk the horn. If you get so nervous, we understand, but if you don't honk the horn, the maneuver is not done. Or maybe you just get out of the vehicle without honking the horn and putting your vehicle in neutral, then that's going to be counted as a get out and look, and if you don't have any more of those, you could automatically fail the test. So most important part of this actual section is going to be follow instructions. I can't tell you how many people I failed, and it hurt my heart to do so because they simply did not follow the instructions. One classic example is going to be when you're straight line backing. The instructions are going to sound something like, okay, I want you to back the vehicle all the way straight and stop when your front part of your vehicle has passed the last set of cones. I said that very specifically. That means your entire vehicle has to pass the last set of cones, and it should be in front of your vehicle at that point. What some people actually listen is, okay, my last part of my vehicle, which means my bumper, has to pass the last set of cones, and then all of a sudden they stop there, honk the horn, put it in neutral, and I have to fail them, and it really hurts when that happens simply because they did not follow directions. And I know that they were actually driving the truck straight, and then of course they beg, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't hear that, or can I do it again? And unfortunately, all of our examiners and all examiners across the country have to follow the strict rules and guidelines based on what the federal government tells us to do. So we could not do anything. That's why we ask if you have any questions. So do not be afraid to ask questions on this actual part of the test. They're not going to look at you any type of way. They're actually going to appreciate the fact that you want to be clear. So super, super important you understand that. Now when it comes to the technical skill side of things, right, in order to pass this test, here are some tips and tricks. Part number 1 is going to be before you actually start the maneuver, visualize in your head what the end result looks like and just bring it down to the basics. You have to understand when you're driving a tractor trailer, there's only 3 possible outcomes when it comes to backing up a tractor trailer. You want the trailer to go right, you want the trailer to go left, or you want the trailer to back up straight. And it's very simple. If you want the trailer to go right, you're going to have to turn to the left. If you want the trailer to go left, you're going to have to turn to the right. And if you're going to have to back up straight, you want to turn to the same side you see the trailer. Now, if you have no idea what I'm saying, you are a perfect candidate to come to our school because we will show you every step of the way on how to get there. But what a lot of people wind up doing is they kind of start to rush everything, and then they forget that they're in a tractor trailer, and they still start driving it like it's their own car, and that's what gets them all messed up. When you're in our training yard, we're going to repeat this maneuver over and over and over again until it becomes muscle memory. The only reason you're going to fail is if you get too nervous and you start freaking out. So just calm yourself down and make sure you're checking your mirrors and make sure you are actually turning the wheel the proper way, right? And then the last piece of advice when it comes to passing this test is going to be, don't have your ego about it. If you have a get out and look, use the get out and look. What does that mean? That means you can physically get out of the vehicle, walk yourself around the vehicle, see what it looks like, and then get back in, and then you can continue the maneuver. Not every maneuver is going to have a get out and look. The examiner is going to tell you exactly which maneuvers do, which maneuvers don't, and how many get out and looks you actually do have per maneuver itself, right? So I hope that this actually helped you out, because if you follow all of this advice, that means you get to move on to, wait for it, Alright, so now you're actually on the quickest part of the road test. And the quickest part of the road test is part number 3, which is driving on the actual road itself. Here they're going to be testing your skills on shifting if you want to learn how to drive a stick shift, and just in general road driving skills, right? So let's give you the top 3 things to really watch out for. 1 is going to be your stop signs, making sure that you're stopping with all the proper distances that you need on stop signs, corners, or any type of lights that you need to worry about. 2 is going to be your following distance. Make sure you have safe following distance between you and the vehicle in front of you. And then 3, make sure you're watching your speed. You're not going too slow and you're not going too fast. As long as you do that, in general, you should be pretty much okay. Now, the main things to watch out for when it comes to the actual road test is they want to make sure that you're safe on the road and you know what you're doing and you are in control of the vehicle. So there are going to be certain things that are going to be automatic failures on the test. And the top 3 automatic failures for the actual CDL road test is going to be this. If you run over a curb, fail. If you lose control of the vehicle, which means you're shifting and all of a sudden you're in neutral and you lose control of the vehicle, fail. If you're speeding 5 miles an hour over the speed limit at any given time, fail. So as long as you avoid those top 3 reasons to fail, you should be on an easy street and you should just stay calm, cool, and collective and make sure you're checking out your mirrors. Some of the biggest tips here is going to be make sure you're watching your speed, make sure you're checking your mirrors at all times, and if you want to over communicate to the examiner, it's always a great idea, right? So the examiner is going to give you instructions, okay, at the light, turn right, and then you can repeat that. At the light, I'm going to turn right, just to verify exactly that you're getting things correctly done, right? You're going to talk about any decisions that you're making if it's out of the ordinary. Okay, I'm going to start slowing down because the traffic's right up ahead, or I'm going to start moving into another lane, I'm going to turn on my turn signals. It's going to make your examiner's job a whole lot easier, which means now they can grade you a whole lot easier, and now it makes it a lot easier for you to actually pass your CDL road test. And that's pretty much it. If you go through all of that section and you actually wind up getting back in time, nice and safe, you have a very high chance of passing your CDL road test, and now you are on your road to freedom, my friend. We love the feeling that people get after they get their CDL license, and the cool thing, I've seen it so many times, is the first breath somebody actually takes with having their CDL license in hand, right? It's like that, that breath of release. Because once you actually work so hard for something and you finally get it, there's no greater feeling in the world. And now you actually start to realize that your future is going to come true. So if your future currently looks like something that you don't truly want, right? And that's what your life looks like. Maybe you're living paycheck to paycheck. Maybe you have to watch how much you're budgeting, right? Maybe everything is super constrained. Maybe you want to keep growing, but you feel stuck at your job. Getting a CDL license is one of the best ways out of the current situation that you're in to start living the life that you want, start making more money, and traveling the country if that's also what you want to do. So if you are interested in learning more, make sure you check out our website, cdldrivingacademy.com. But ultimately, our wish is that you pass your CDL road test the very first time so you can get yourself on the road to freedom and get yourself started. We're open up 7 days a week, so that means we can work around any kind of schedule you do have. And all you need to get started is $500 down, and we can work out a payment plan for the rest. So thank you very much, and I hope to see you soon. And make sure you pass your CDL road test the very first time. And if you like this video, drop it in the comments. Let me know what I missed, or let me know what you liked the best. Thanks, and I'll see you soon. Hey, thanks so much for watching this video. If you want to get your CDL license, you know where to go. Check out our website, cdldrivingacademy.com, right over there. And if you like this video, you'll definitely like this video right over here. So make sure you check that out. But before anything else, make sure you subscribe. And I'll see you soon.